And welcome everyone to the South Huron Council meeting, February 2nd, 2026. And welcome those that are participating from the comfort of their home. And we welcome those that are attending in the gallery this evening. We thank our staff for being here this evening to provide us the best information and advice so that we can make the best decisions on behalf of the residents of South Huron. I'll ask everyone to please make sure their cell phones are turned off or on mute, with the exception of the firefighters. And so we'll call this meeting to order and ask everyone to rise for O Canada, please. And we'll begin our meeting with our land acknowledgement. As we gather, we are reminded that the municipality of South Huron is situated on Treaty 29 land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people today. And as a community, we have a responsibility to honor and respect this territory's significance for the Indigenous peoples who lived and continue to live upon it, and whose practices and spiritualities were tied to the land and continue to develop in relationship to the territory and its other inhabitants today. In the spirit of reconciliation and truth, we acknowledge the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples on whose traditional territory that we are meeting. And we'll move on to item number 2. Ms. Masuha-Collison, please.
The South Huron Council approves the agenda as presented.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Dietrich. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Are there any disclosures at this time? And not seeing, we move on to presentations, delegations, public meeting, and now to 7.1, please.
That South Huron Council adopts the minutes of the public and regular council meetings of January 12th, 2026, as printed and circulated.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 8, please.
That the minutes, agendas, and correspondence of the following committees and/or boards be received as presented to council. Upper Thames River Conservation Authority Hearing Committee draft minutes of October 28th, 2026, and agenda package of January 27th, 2026. Board of Directors draft minutes of December 16th, 2025, and January 27th, 2026. Huron OPP Detachment Board minutes and OPP report of December 15th, 2025. Exeter Business Improvement Area, BIA, correspondence.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 6. Thank you. Oh, Councillor Neeb, you have something?
Sorry, discussion.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yep.
Sorry, just because it wasn't brought up. There's a correspondence here from the BIA, and I'm not sure if right now is the time to discuss that or whether we could bring that up later.
We'll discuss it now, I'm sure. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if council would be interested in forwarding this on, or if it's already forwarded on, endorsing it. And maybe I look to staff for proper process if this is something that we should be looking at.
We could speak to that, but I think it has already been dealt with.
It's already been dealt with?
Conference, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. No, that's all been dealt with, yeah. Okay, anything further then? Okay, not seeing it. We've moved and seconded and all in favor, so we can go on to the next item then.
That South Huron Council receives the Exeter Rodeo minutes of December 15th, 2025, And the council approves the Exeter Rodeo Committee recommendation that the municipality of South Huron enter into a one-year contract with Rodeo Management Group in the amount of $50,850, HST included, for the 2026 Exeter Ram Rodeo.
And moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Councillor Oak?
Just a question. It looks like the cost has gone up 5,000 this year from other years to 45 instead of 40.
Deputy, go ahead.
Yes, that's correct. I guess it's like everything else, the cost keeps going up, moving the animals and taking care of them. So, thank you.
Okay, is there any further questions? No questions? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
That South Huron Council received staff report BPS 01-2026, Building and Planning 2025 fourth quarter activity, and year-end summary for information.
And a mover, please. Councillor Neeb moves, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 9.1.2.
That South Huron Council received staff report BPS 02-2026, dedicating road widenings as public highway, and that the bylaw be brought back for the required 3 readings.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 6. Thank you. 9.1.3.
The South Huron Council received staff report BPS 03-2026, limiting distance agreement, Barton and Rasenberg, and that council approved the limiting distance agreement proposed, and that the bylaw authorizing the agreement be brought back for the required 3 readings.
And a mover for that, please. Councillor Oak moves, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 9.1.4.
The South Huron Council received staff report BPS 04-2026, mutual drain agreement, and that council approves the agreement attached to this report, and that the authorizing bylaw for the agreement be brought back for the required 3 readings.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Vaughn, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 9.2.
Let South Huron Council receive staff report CSD 01-2026, extension of service at the South Huron Recreation Centre for information.
And a mover for that. Councillor Neeb moves, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. Oh, Councillor Oak, you had a question? Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just thank staff for putting the report together, very detailed. I just noted that based on how I interpreted the report, the costs were going to be around 10,000-ish, roughly, give or take, and the revenue is going to be around the same. So it's basically a wash as far as income and expense side of things. Is that how I would interpret that?
Yep, so through the mayor, based on the costs that we were able to estimate, you would be correct.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Neeb, you had something?
Yeah, just more of a comment, because the report goes on to say that there is a significant impact on staffing as well. And the one thing that came to mind too when I was reading through this report was the municipality also taking on the administration of the Kirkton Woodham facilities as well. And it doesn't explicitly state it, but my implicit understanding is that it looks as though we don't have enough staff to cover the shoulder time if we were to increase and lengthen the ice time, which will have more of a financial impact on the municipality. And I think when we look at the amount of growth that we've been seeing over the last 4 years in the municipality, it makes sense that we're going to see that extra strain on our recreation facilities. So I'm just wondering if we were to extend this ice time, whether we would be able to hire more help, or whether there'd be another, I don't know, there's maybe another way of going about that other than hiring staff. But if there's a way to, I don't know, redeploy or however else staff would like to proceed, but to make sure that the recreation facilities during that shoulder time are being taken care of, and et cetera. So that's just a comment. I don't.
I'll turn to staff for comment. Ms. Masoul-Coulson.
Through the mayor, thank you for that comment. Yes, and the more that more services that are added and the more development that happens, it does put a strain, especially at the shoulder seasons, but throughout the season itself. Right now, with the number of operators that we have, we are hiring more staff as needed, and then that sometimes shows up in overtime hours. So there will be more to come on this, but for now, we just wanted council to recognize that it is possible, but there may be some delays in some of the shoulder season as well, right?
Okay, thank you. Deputy, you had something.
Yes, I'd just like to echo Aaron's thoughts. I mean, we keep adding and adding and adding, excuse me, but we're not adding any help or any labor. And if we're going to pay overtime, like that's not cheap. To me, our staff deserves their holidays. I'm sure they're not getting their holidays with when they're pressured this much. I don't know how that's working, but I think that's something that maybe we should be, senior management and Rebecca should be looking at to maybe, I don't know, bring it back or you just deal with it. I don't know which way you want to go, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Vaughan.
Yes, I also noticed in the report that staff brought up the issue of who is likely to use the South Huron Rec Center after the ice is out. One of them being the rummage sale, which has used it for years, and that there's a possibility that the rummage sale moved to Stephen, but perhaps that hasn't been investigated in any way at this point in time. But just thinking about that for a moment on my own, I was also thinking if the rummage sale were to move to Stephen Arena, as an example, does that not also create a parking issue? Because there's nowhere near the kind of parking at Stephen that there is at the rec center, as well as a loading and unloading kind of area. We don't really have any open bays or things along those lines. So I just wanted to know if that really is a feasible approach.
Through the mayor. So it was offered as an option. There would definitely be some logistical things we'd have to figure out. Parking is always a bit of an issue there once it gets to be busy. The rummage sale is, I know this year they had 2 dates that they were looking at, and they were pretty flexible to pick the later date. So I don't know if that's something that we could also work with them too moving forward. But just knowing that we have another location if we needed to figure it out. They're a creative group, so we could always look at it. Not the ideal spot, but an option if need be.
Okay, thank you. And one other thought was when we had our delegation last council meeting, I thought I heard that the extension of ice time, the Hockey Association thought they could work with either South Huron Rec Center or Stephen Arena. And in the staff report, we didn't really talk about extending ice time at the Stephen Arena. And so I just wondered if there were any comments about that as another viable option.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Finch. The Stephen ice comes out long before the South Huron Rec Center ice at the end of March. So that facility would have an ice plant operating for a whole month without any scheduled use. So that's why we chose to go this route versus leave the ice in there.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Oak.
Yeah, just on that, as the teams are eliminated from the playoffs and whatever, we only need to have one facility open as we go, and the one that has more seating as the playoffs attract more attendance, sort of thing. And Stephen wouldn't be sufficient for some of the size of crowds that are usually there. So, Jeremy.
And again, through you, Mayor Finch, one other thing is the Hawks, if they run into playoffs, they'll require the ice at this facility because we can't handle the crowds that they bring in at Stephen. So the ice always has been here later when needed if they run into playoffs.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Councillor McLeod Haggett.
I'm just wondering, when the comment here where it says that it would basically be a wash on the expense part, did you take into consideration, because was there not a comment that the skating club would also use additional ice time? So that would be additional revenue coming in.
Through the mayor. So yeah, we just based it on the 35 hours. So whether that's all full within or the South Huron Minor Hockey, or that's a combination of Hawks and Skating Club, that was kind of the number that we've used in the past before.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Masood Coulson?
Through the mayor, I just have a comment. This as it stands, a resolution is for information. If there's any other decision, then that will need a resolution as well.
Okay, Councillor Oak.
Yeah, I'd like to move a resolution to move forward with extending the rec center season.
Okay, I'll just turn to the clerk to for process.
So through the chair, there's two options: to either amend the current resolution to receive the staff report and then add that resolution, or complete the vote on receiving the staff report and then do a separate resolution to extend the ice time.
So while we receive the report and then present with another one. So we have a mover and a second for 9.2.1. We'll call the question. All in favor to receive the report? And that carries with 6. Thank you. And I'll turn to the clerk for the second resolution.
That South Huron Council extends the ice season in 2026 and moving forward at the South Huron Recreation Centre to accommodate the Ontario Minor Hockey Association mandated spring tryout windows.
So moved. Councillor Oak.
So moved.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Neeb seconds. Any further discussion? Councillor Vaughn.
Yes, I'm just wondering about, we've had two councillors bring up the fact that we might be short-staffed during the shoulder period. And so as a part of that resolution, do we need to make any kind of a comment about staff is okay to go ahead and hire for that? Or I'm looking to the CAO for some recommendation there.
Through the mayor, that is something that operationally that we'll take care of. No further resolution on that piece needed at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we have a mover and a seconder. Anything further, Madam Clerk? You ready? Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you. Next item, please.
The South Huron Council received staff report ESD 01-2026, 2025 Drinking Water System Annual Compliance Report to the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks.
And I move it, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you. Next item, please.
The South Huron Council received the staff report FIN 02-2026 Ontario Regulation 28409 Budget Matters, and that South Huron Council adopts this report, which meets the requirements of Regulation 28409.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
The South Huron Council received staff report BL 01-2026, 2025 fourth quarter and year-end summary of bylaw infractions and requests for service for information.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 9.4.3.
The South Huron Council received staff report CAO 02-2026, 2025 priorities year-end review be received, and that council set a workshop to review, validate, and work plan council priorities.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you. Number 10.
This moved by Councillor Oak. The recommendation, whereas at the regular council meeting of January 12th, 2026, a dog park project in Exeter was removed from the 2026 budget. And whereas council has received a petition along with correspondence from members of the public expressing interest for the establishment of a dog park within Exeter. And Whereas council has received correspondence from members of the public expressing willingness to provide financial support for the establishment of a dog park in Exeter, along with offers of sponsorship for advertisement signage at same. And whereas a dog park is in alignment with South Huron strategic priorities 2023 to 2026 regarding recreation and community amenities and community safety and well-being, but was not identified as a council priority. And whereas a location for the dog park has not been identified, now therefore be it resolved that the municipality of South Huron proceed with the public consultation plan to gather information on public interest in establishing a dog park in Exeter, including preferred location, sponsorship, and financial support, and that staff bring a report back following the public consultation period for council consideration.
So move, Councillor Oak.
So moved.
Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor seconds. Okay, very well. Discussion. Councillor Deeb.
Thank you, Mayor Finch. Yeah, just in reading this over, I'm thinking if in terms of public consultation, whether we could potentially, I don't know whether this needs to be in the resolution or whether this could just be taken as direct or asked to staff to take back, but whether we could get the Huron County Accessibility Advisory Committee involved in this process. I think this whole process started because of a need for some like an accessible space for a dog park, something that people with accessibility issues could get to. As well, I was just wondering, and I don't know if this is a staff question or for Councillor Oak, but what type of public input are we going to be seeking out over the next year, and what does that look like in terms of staff time?
Okay, Councillor Oak, would you want to respond to that?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess normally we have various ways that we seek public input, whether it's surveys online, whether it's attending different functions. We had open house for a playground where we were voting on playgrounds and types at different events. So, I guess I'm putting it in staff's hands to we've got a public consultation that's going to be happening for the casino as well. So there's different methods.
Councillor Deeb, follow up.
Yeah, thank you through the chair. And I guess, again, to staff or to Councillor Oak as well, in terms of a timeline as well, because we have been discussing this for 2 years. We have solicited a staff report as well, and members of the public have been engaging businesses in the community for funding. So I'm just wondering what the timeline would be in terms of, are we looking to have this public consultation process this quarter, next quarter, the fall? Again, it'd be nice if we could get something in the budget this coming fall.
Okay, Councillor McLeod-Hague, you got something?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Finch. Just also looking for just clarification, Mr. Oak, where it says along with offers of sponsorship for advertisement signage at same, we're still looking for user groups that would help fund this project as a whole, whether it be multiple user groups or like, what are you looking for there?
I guess exactly. I guess the staff is to come back with a report with some ideas of how we would fundraise sponsorship for it, the park location. Yeah.
Deputy, you had something?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm in agreement. Like, I think we need to maybe speed this up as quick as we can to get this process going. Like Councillor Oak said, I know it's something that staff, it's going to take some staff time, but I don't want to see it in a year from now. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have to caution too. I think we won't be, if we're not here at the next budget, it's a new council, right? So I think that's something to consider about too, right?
We still have our fall session, depending on the situation, I guess.
Through the mayor, with the strong mayor powers now, the budget session won't start until the mayor of next year will start the budget process. Yeah.
but we can have an amendment to the budget if there's a way to do this. And if sponsorship is such that it's going to cover the costs, and that's a whole different thing, the amendment, right? Rebecca?
Through the mayor, yes, you could still, this council can still do a budget amendment. Especially if, it's not going to necessarily meet the criteria for the lame duck provisions because of the amount. But yes, before that, yes.
Any other questions at all? And then would you were considering maybe a committee be formed from the public too? Is that possible, Mr. Oak, or what's your thoughts on that?
I'll leave that to Rebecca. I've asked staff to come back with a report.
Very well. Okay, is there any further discussion? We have moved and seconded now. If there's no further discussion. Councillor MacLeod, go ahead, please.
Sir, I think I'm confused on one thing that you said about having to amend the budget, but if we're asking for sponsors or user groups, are we not looking for the amount that is going to cost for this dog park to be covered? Or are we asking for a portion of the dog park to be covered by a user group and then the funds from another reserve pay for the other balance? I'm just looking for clarification there.
Councillor Oak.
Yeah, either way, we have to do an amendment to the budget, even if it's 100% covered. It's still a budget amendment, the way I understand it. Rebecca, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, if there's no further discussion, Councillor Dietrich, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Is the staff, thanks for the mayor, does the staff know what their report they're supposed to bring back?
Through the mayor, at this time, it looks like that we're going to do a consultation. And we're also going to garner information or interest during that consultation on if they're the preferred location and if there are sponsorships and what they will be and the financial support. And then we'll bring that back for council decision. At this point, we're looking at probably Q2, which would fit in. And that's the timeline when we would get back to you. Okay.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay. Not seeing any, we'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. All right, next item, please. 11, please.
So in case there's any delegations from previous meeting, the South Huron Minor Hockey Association, I believe that's been dealt with. And Andy Glavin, it's going to the county council, I understand.
Come to council on Wednesday, yep.
11.2, the repeal of designating bylaw 12/1993. It was deferred. And so the resolution is back to council today. The recommendation was that South Huron Council receive staff report CL 21/2025 and that council proceed with option blank as outlined in that report.
Okay, is there a mover for something that right now or?
Sorry, through the chair, it was moved by Councillor Neeb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Dietrich at that time.
Okay, and the option we're going to go with? Members, Councillor Oak.
Could you just read the two options again for staff, for council?
Yeah, so through the chair, so option number 1 was to refuse the application. So should council refuse the application, the clerk will serve a notice of council's decision on the property owner, any person who objected to the application, as well as the Ontario Heritage Trust. Should the application be refused, the owner may appeal to the OLT within 30 days of receipt of the notice. Option 2 was to consent to the application. So should council consent to the application and pass a bylaw repealing the designation bylaw, a copy of the repealing bylaw would be sent to the property owner, any person who objected to the application, as well as the Ontario Heritage Trust. Further, notice of council's decision would be published in the local paper. And should council consent to the application, any person who objects to this decision may appeal to the OLT within 30 days of the date of publication of the notice of council's decision. So should council choose to proceed with option 2, the bylaw to repeal would be brought back to the February 17th council meeting.
Okay, thank you. Comments from council. Councillor Oak.
Yeah, just, I guess, just wondering, has there been any progress made on the insurance piece that with the Heritage Committee working with the applicant?
Counselor?
So in early January, the committee contacted the property owner with potential lead on an insurer. The National Trust of Canada actually has their own insurance coverage for heritage properties across Canada. And so last week, the committee reached out to the applicant, the property owner, sorry. They have not received any quotes back. However, within the last, I would say 3 months, we have been in contact with them with other insurers. In fact, their primary insurer that they were with that prompted the application to remove the designation. We actually connected them with another insurer that was significantly lower, and Councilor may recall the correspondence that we received about lowering the rate by $900. It was significantly higher with the primary insurer that they had. So that's the progress that's been made, but National Trust of Canada, according to the property owner, has not reached out back with a quote.
Councilor McLeod Haggett?
Through you, Mayor Finch. So when I spoke last with the applicant, after the last council meeting, one of his concerns that he said to me was that in other insurance companies that he has spoken with, they are telling him that if the designation is removed, his insurance would still significantly drop. I get that it's a heritage and it's the last heritage property in Crediton. However, if the insurance is not going to decrease enough now for it to renew in a year, he's going to be back in the same boat that he is today, where he's still paying a higher amount of insurance that he just can't afford. So I think that we have to, in today's society, look at what the means is to what's financially feasible for the individuals that own these properties. Yes, he did buy this property knowing that there was a designation on it, and at that time, he could afford that property. But things happen in people's lives financially, in their family. So I worry that if we don't do a consent to this application now, we're going to be back in the same boat next year, because that insurance company is not getting back with him, giving him a lower rate. And he is trying to find ways to make this work. Just financially, he is struggling on this. And I get it. You've said they've lowered it $900, but he could get it even less if that designation was not there. So I think that we have to be mindful of the individual that's applying for this and why they truly are, and is it really putting a financial hardship on them? Thank you.
Councilor Deeb, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. And that's been something that the committee has wanted to work with the applicant. Unfortunately, it's not that simple and easy. We've been bouncing around 2 or 3 separate insurers to find a lower rate. The committee has been willing to work with the applicant. In fact, we had suggested as well looking at potentially altering the designation bylaw to fit specific criteria, and whether that would actually reduce any costs with the insurance. The one thing that I keep in mind in the back of my head is that in 1993, Stephen Council went out of their way to designate this property. Some of these properties, I would say, that are designated across Ontario maybe aren't as unique as this one. So it would be a real loss to the community, to our local heritage, if that property or that building ever was just demolished. And I think that's what's tricky about heritage buildings, is you're taking on a huge responsibility when you purchase a heritage building. It's no different than if you take on a property with an easement on it, or take on a property with any other special circumstances. In looking at the OLT and how they've dealt with heritage properties, time and time again, people have appealed to the OLT if the designation has been upheld, saying that there is financial hardship. In all of those cases, that has not held up, because financial hardship does not change the heritage character or value of the property. And I think too, the committee has helped in reducing some of those costs. $900 was reducing just from a designated property down to a non-designated property, but before their primary insurer was going to charge them thousands. So I don't think this is a heritage issue. It's an insurance issue, which I think there probably are insurers out there that will have, I think, a common sense approach to insuring heritage buildings. So I'm not in favor of removing the designation just purely because of the insurance. I think the committee is still willing to work with the applicant, but I think if we move forward with repealing it, we are opening it up to an appeal.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? And I asked Council, where do you want to go, 1 or 2? Councillor Oak?
Yeah, just there's a timeline on this too. So tonight we have to make a decision one way or another. Is we're at the so many days out.
So through the chair, through the legislation, a decision needs to be made by council within the 90 days of the closing for objection period. So that 90-day deadline is February 26th, which is why if council is to make a decision to pass a repealing bylaw, the bylaw would come back to the next meeting.
Okay, so option 1 or 2. And perhaps in layman's term, you could explain what each one means, Madam Clerk.
So through the chair, should council proceed with option 1, you're refusing the application. So the designation to remain, you would be supporting the designation remain on title. If you chose option 2, you'd be consenting to the application. So you'd be in favor of having the bylaw repealed. So removing the designation from title.
Councillor McLeod-Haggett.
I would like to make a motion to go with option 2.
Okay, so we'll have that motion read, and then we'll look for a seconder in a moment.
So as there's already a motion on the table, this would be to amend that, and that it would be a motion to include that council proceed with option 2 as outlined in this report, moved by Councillor McLeod-Haggett.
Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Vaughn seconds. Any discussion on that? Okay, and so Madam Clerk.
So should this motion proceed, then that would be included within the original motion to receive the staff report and proceed with option 2 for your final voting. So this is an amendment to your original motion because you already had a mover and a seconder. So you have a mover and seconder to amend that. So they would vote on whether to proceed with option 2. If that passes, then the original motion will be read with the original mover and second with the option 2 inserted for council vote.
So the motion is to option 2. Any further questions on that? I'll call the question. All in favor with option 2. Councillor Vaughn, you have a question or?
Actually, I was quite confused with all of that. I understand the option 2 piece, but I don't understand what's the motion we're going to go back to after we vote for this.
So through the chair, so the original motion on the floor was that South Huron Council receive staff report CL 21-2025 and proceed with option blank as outlined in the report. That was moved by Councillor Neeb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Dietrich. So Councillor McLeod-Haggett would like to make a motion to insert option 2. So that would be a separate motion that would be read first. If it passes, option 2 gets read into the original motion. Your other option is to do a friendly amendment if the mover and seconder would be agreeable.
Okay, I get it now. Sorry.
So it's been moved and seconded. Let's proceed with that for option 2. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, go with option 2. And that carries with 6. Ms. Madam Clerk.
So the That passes. So then it would be brought back to the original motion that South Huron Council receive staff report CL 21-2025, and that council proceed with option 2 as outlined in the report. And that was moved by Councillor Neeb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Dietrich.
Okay, very well. So any further questions on that? I'll call the question, all in favor. And that carries with 6. Thank you. Okay, next item, number 12.
That a volunteer be appointed to the Court of Revision for the Conlin Vogels Drain and the Glavin Swartz Drain, North Middlesex, on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026 at 5:45 PM.
So let's go with who wants to go to that. Jim, Marissa, you want to go to it? Okay, so Councillor Vaughn can go to that. So we'll include her name in that. So we don't need to read that again, or do we? Okay, so we have a mover for that? Councillor Oak moves, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor, and that carries with 7. Thank you. Mayor and Councillor, comments and announcements. Are there any comments at this time? Seeing Councillor Oak.
Yeah, just thank you, Mayor. Just wondering, there's been some discussion from the county budget. Just wondering what's happening, or is there anything that is being proposed with the roundabout at airport? I've had some people asking me.
So pretty clear where I stand on the roundabout, and the county that's been moved into the parking lot at this time. So but I've asked for another paving job that's almost equivalent to the cost for County Road 17 to be moved into the parking lot as well. And at this point, that we have a meeting on the 11th in the morning to just discuss where we're going. Where it goes, I don't know, but I'm hopeful that it'll be proceeded with. But at this point, that's where we're at. Councilor McLeod-Haggett.
I'm not really sure when or how I should ask for this, but with respect to the roundabout then, is there a way that we can get a report to show what prior to what the safety, like what are the strips on the road, what are they called? The speed bumps? The rumble strips, sorry. And the increased size of the stop signs and the flashing lights. What is the rate of accidents and speeding prior to those being implemented to now? I'm just curious on what the numbers are for stats with respect to prior to it and after.
Well, one of the concerns about the roundabout was the level of service. It was a fail. So therefore, that was just one of the components, the safety component. But as I've said before, you can't measure the number of close misses you've had. So, there've been a number of near misses we know of, but if they're not reported to the OPP, then they have no way of capturing that. So the only thing you really capture is collisions and stop sign violations if they record that as well. But I don't know what the answer would be with that, but the BM Ross did the study and their report came back very clear. It was your level of service was at a fail. So. Any other questions? Okay, not seeing any. Deputy.
Thank you. To answer her question though, that can be brought from the police. Their reports can be got from there. So it's available. It's not that it's not. And I understand where you're coming from with the other report, but it's available. So if staff wants to get it, I guess that's up to them if you want to make that recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah, if I can make that recommendation, and it might be something that helps you push forward for the roundabout at the county budget. I know it might not be here in time for that, but it might be numbers that you might be able to get advance of the budget meeting to help you. Just a suggestion.
No, I appreciate that, but I know I talk to Imran quite regularly. They monitor the accidents that do occur there anyways, because it is county roads, so they were able to bring that information back if there is a problem. And we could apply, you could ask for that. I'm sure council may support it, but it may not come back in time for Wednesday or whenever it actually gets resolved. So this is okay. But I'm prepared to discuss it, and I've got a whole preamble set to discuss it on Wednesday. Okay, if there's nothing further from members of council on that, the only thing I have is the Bonnie Sitter reached out to me and it wanted me to make sure council's aware the Farmerettes is being shown on February 11th here at the Rec Center, 1:30 in the afternoon and 7 o'clock at night. We have a meeting at 5 o'clock that day, and Deputy County in the morning, of course. So if you're able to go to the afternoon show, or if we get done in time in the evening show, it'd be great to go see it. I've seen it a couple of times. It's really well well rewarding. And I believe Councilor Neves had his students see it. Is that right? Yeah, good. That's all I have. If nothing else from members of council, move on to communications. Ms. Sue Carlson.
14.1, 14.2, 14.3,
Pull.
sorry, 14.4, 14.5,
Pull.
14.6,
Pull.
14.7, 14.8,
Pull.
14.9,
Pull.
14.10, 14.11, 14.12, 14.13, 14.14, 14.15, 14.16, and 14.17.
Okay, 14.3, Councilor McLeod Haggett, I believe.
Sorry.
Okay.
Just looking to see if we could, if maybe staff have a suggestion on what we could donate for this, whether it be pool pass and pickleball again, or maybe Amanda has another suggestion that we could do to donate to the conservation auction.
Through the mayor, I personally, I would probably stick with those two options. They're very well received in the community, and yeah, to be honest, the pool pass is highly sought after sometimes too. So
So resolution then?
Yes, can I make a resolution, please?
Okay. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
That South Huron Council donate a pickleball pass and family pool pass to the 2026 annual Asable Bayfield Conservation Foundation online auction.
So move, Councilor McLeod Haggett.
Yes.
Is there a seconder? Councilor Oak seconds. Is there any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? And that carries a 7. Thank you. 14.5, Councilor Neeb.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor Finch. I think Council will recall we supported the immigration partnership this past year with their English as a second language courses at the Dashwood Community Center, and this letter is asking to continue with that this coming year. So I'd be willing to make a resolution to move forward with renting that out free of charge or at reduced cost.
I'll look to the clerk.
That South Huron Council waive the rental fees for the use of the Dashwood Community Center for the County of Huron Immigration Partnership English as a second language classes. So there's 10 classes as outlined in their January 12th, 2026 letter of request.
So moved.
Yep, so moved.
Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor seconds. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, 14.6, Councilor Vaughn, I believe.
Yes. So I think this is the second piece of correspondence we've received from the public ahead of our rollout of our communication strategy. So I just wanted to make sure that this one and the one that was presented, I think in the last council meeting, is part of the whole collection of feedback.
Okay.
Through the mayor, yes, I confirm they're part of the feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item, 14.8, Councilor McLeod, I believe.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Finch. Looking at that, you've just spoken about the We Lend a Hand showing that's going to be happening at the rec center. Just wondering if there's a way that we can, I guess, make sure the stage is set up and waive that fee, given it is kind of a big thing that's happening. We're lucky to have it in the community coming for 2 viewings. So if we could support this in any way, I would look to bring a resolution to do that.
Okay, comments from staff? Any comments at all? Go ahead, Ned.
So through the mayor, sorry, looking at that, so the stage will be, the request was have it set up on the 10th for the 11th, which we're definitely able to do. And then to have it set up, or I believe to remain set up until the 19th, typically we would take it down in between those dates. We can set them up both days, but that's where that fee does come in. So staff can definitely get it set up on those 2 days.
And what would be the cost to set up if we were waiving it?
Through the mayor, so we do have a cost in there at $150 to set it up. If you want a little bit of background on that, so it does take 2 staff quite a bit of time to set it up. In the past, users have been asked to pay if it was removed at a staff hourly rate. There was some inconsistencies with that rate because if I'm out there taking the stage down, it's going to take a lot longer than someone who does it quite frequently. So we did look to standardize that rate and also charge those who are benefiting from the amenity rather than those who do not want that amenity in the space. So that's kind of where that is from.
Councilor Rope?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wondering, so the 11th it's going to be set up for, and then they're looking at the 19th, but in between there's Family Day that's happening at the rec center as well. Will it be set up for that event as well, for the Family Day event? It has been in the past, the stage there for different activities that happen. So just wondering if it can be kept up for that period of time because of the Family Day use as well.
So we were looking at the notes don't have the stage set up. I know they're finalizing the contract, so that is something that we do ask for clarification on. When the stage is set up, we have had requests to remove it. We have a good problem. We have a lot of people in that hall, but for a lot of different reasons. So often when we get maybe more physical activity type of or events going on or programs, people do ask for it to be removed. For different private events, they sometimes ask for it to be removed too. So it's a good problem to have. It's just up and down with the stage and the amount of staff time.
Okay, so is there a motion you prepared then?
Through the chair, so just looking for clarification from Councilor McLeod-Haggett. You're asking for the waiver of the fee for setup takedown on the 11th or in regards to the 19th?
If it can stay up, like if there's no reason for it to come down, then maybe we can keep it up. If it has to come down, then like, is there any events in between there, any user groups or activities that are already planned in there that would need the stage removed?
Through the mayor. So there are some activities that take place in there that look to maximize the space. So with our new recreation coordinator, I know that individual's trying to get some more programs up. The start date for some of those would look to maximize the space. So we do offer hall walking, which typically wants to use the entire perimeter. We have some other private rentals for dry land training that come through. And then we also have a very active physical activity group that's in there most days that some people would prefer to get rid of the stage just based on what court it is on. So,
Okay, Councilor Neek.
In terms of the fee that's charged, I'm going to make an assumption that the reason why that charge is put in place was because of the extra amount of time that it took staff away from their regular duties to set the stage up and put it back down, which takes away from the other levy-funded, user-funded activities that they're doing. So I've been sitting here and we've been listening, talking about whether we take the stage down, whether we leave it up, whether we move it, that's an operational situation. I'm not in favor of reducing the fee. We are already providing this space for free. And if we are pulling staff away from their regular duties to do this and we're waiving this fee, I'm worried about other groups saying, we'll just set the stage up for free. Every event that takes place in that building, which is going to pull staff away from their regular duties. So I don't think it's a good idea to do that, especially if staff have put that fee in place because they believe it's going to cover the cost of doing that.
Councilor McLeod-Haggett.
Okay, I would be willing to amend my recommendation that we set it up for the showing of We Lend a Hand, only given the significance of what this film is. And I will undertake to sponsor the $150 to have it put back up on the 19th for West Coast Active Living.
Okay, so we'll just wait for the motion to be read here. And am I to understand, Councilor McLeod-Haggett, you're gonna pay yourself for it?
I will pay for it myself so it can happen.
So procedurally, how does that work?
I will find a sponsor to sponsor the setup fee.
Ms. Masuda-Paulson?
The Mayor, from what I'm hearing, is that the resolution itself is only to deal with the 11th. And then we'll leave the other one.
Very good, thank you.
That the fee for the setup takedown of the stage at the South Huron Recreation Center main hall for February 11th be waived.
So move, Councilor McLeod-Haggett.
So moved.
Is there a seconder for that? Councilor Oak seconds. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 6. Thank you. Next item will be 14.9. Councilor Neeb, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Finch. So we received some communication from some residents on Thomas Street about flooding concerns, and I think this has been on our radar, especially with our asset management plan. And I was just wondering if we could get a staff report back or just some information about what next steps are. It's terrible to hear when water backs up into people's homes, but I think we do have something laid out down the road. But yeah.
Do we need a resolution for that?
Yes, please.
That staff bring a report back to a future council meeting regarding flooding drainage concerns on Thomas Street, Exeter.
So move, Councilor Neeb. Thank you. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Oak. Any discussion? I call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 7. Thank you. And we go to the resolution, please.
That South Huron Council received communication items not otherwise dealt with.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councilor McLeod-Haggett, second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 7. No closed session. No 16th report from closed session. Bylaws, please.
That South Huron Council gives third and final reading to Bylaw 34, 2025, being a bylaw to provide for the Coates Municipal Drain 2025 in the municipality of South Huron.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councilor Dietrich, seconded by Councilor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 17.2.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to Bylaw 4, 2026, being a bylaw to appoint a tile drainage inspector.
And a mover, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councilor McLeod-Haggett. Any discussion? Councilor Dietrich, go ahead.
This is just for, thanks to the mayor. This is for, if there's a loan goes out, this fella does the inspection on the loan.
That's correct.
Right, and canceling our other building official. Or not building official,
no.
drainage
We
inspector.
still have our drainage inspector.
Right,
Yes,
right,
and
okay.
drainage engineer. Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Not seeing any. Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 17.3.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to Bylaw 5, 2026, being a bylaw to establish the fees for services for the Exeter Public Cemetery.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councilor Neeb, seconded by Councilor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question. Oh, Councilor McLeod-Haggett, go ahead, please.
I'm just, through you, Mayor Finch, I'm just reviewing this further. And I know that we've had discussions previously about the flower beds and the amount of time that it takes to plant these flowers, water the flowers die, so they have to plant more flowers. Is this something that we should be looking at maybe having removed going forward for the fee structure for the cemeteries and take that flower bed piece completely out? Given that it's causing, again, an operational increase?
Through the mayor, staff are working on a plan, but at this time there are contracts and there are obligations for contracts. But as far as putting in fees for removing the current fees, they help supplement the costs of the flower beds at this point. So that is up to council. However, that is what helps pay for the flower beds, the perpetual ones.
Okay, any further questions? We have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. Oh, go ahead.
I gotta ask another question then.
Sure, go ahead.
If we're having a further review, then maybe we should take the 5-year flower bed out and just have the initial annual bed and the renewed annual bed maybe, but don't offer the 5-year flower bed anymore if there's a report coming back having a full review of the flowers. It's just, if we're gonna sell them in the next year for another 5-year flower bed, we're just getting into another problem of how do we make a decision to do anything with the flower beds at the cemetery if we're still selling the 5-year bed? So I would be okay. I guess I'm looking at maybe removing the 5-year flower bed and leaving the other two maybe in there. I just think we're setting ourselves up for more issues if we're looking at actually reviewing the whole flower system at the Exeter Cemetery.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other comments in regards to the discussion here? Okay, not seeing anything further. So we have a motion on the table. I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please, 17.4.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 6, 2026, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 69, 2018 of the municipality of South Huron for lands described as concession 7, lot 14, and part of lot 11, Stephen Ward, municipality of South Huron, and that no further notice is required under section 3417 of the Planning Act.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 17.5.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 7, 2026, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a subdivision agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of South Huron and Huron Green Inc. in the Municipality of South Huron in the County of Huron.
This has been long awaited. Is there a mover for that, please? Deputy Mayor moves, seconded by Councillor McLeod Haggett. Any discussion? Call the question. Oh, Councillor Vaughn, go ahead, please.
Yes, I would agree. It's long awaited. And so now that it's here and we're about to vote on this, I'm just wondering if we can be advised, is there some activity coming soon regarding this whole subdivision?
Through the mayor. Excuse me. So activity being, my apologies. Activities being, yes, there's upgrades to the roads. There's a sidewalk going in on airport line. There's a PXO, so a crossing that's going to be upgraded slightly, I think, with some lighting. Improvements like that, yes, definitely. Improvements for housing or sale of properties, that's completely up to the developer at this point in time.
Okay, that was part of what I wanted to know, is if they are making moves towards selling potentially the lots or renting more of properties, or I just wondered if any of that was being talked about actively right at this point in time.
Yep, so through the mayor, again, that is up to the developer whether they want to rent it out or sell some of those properties.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to staff for their diligence on this. I know there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, which we really appreciate. I get lots of questions every month about this project, so we're really glad to see where it's gotten to where it is now. So we have a mover and a seconder. If there's nothing further, call the question. All in favor. And that carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 8, 2026, being a bylaw to authorize entering into an Ontario transfer payment agreement for the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund Intake 2 with His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Confirming bylaw.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 9, 2026, being a bylaw to confirm matters addressed at the February 2nd, 2026 council meeting.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Dietrich, second by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Last one.
The South Huron Council hereby adjourn at 7:04 p.m. to meet again on February 17th, 2026 at 6 p.m. or at the call of the chair.
Deputy Mayor moves, seconded by Councillor Neeb. No discussion. Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7.